Good afternoon. What's up, everybody? It's the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff. Me, Ryan McGuffey, here in the Recap Studios, brought to you by our fine partners at Hooters. Visit originalhooters.com to find the location nearest you. Plenty to talk about with Hooters later on. We're about a month away from our next Hooters live in-person event, which will be a Cubs watch party and NBA draft watch party on June 25th. At Hooters. O'Hare, Cap, and I will be there and looking forward to seeing a lot of you. So I said, we put it out there on social. Say it with me. Good and loud. A one, a two, a three. The Cubs have a closer problem. Year 3. Here we are again. The Cubs have a closer problem. The chat, by the way, I can't even keep up. It is so full. Becky is back to worrying again. Becky, I'm gonna talk you off the ledge. It's okay. It's okay. It's one game. They have to get this closer situation figured out. They have to get it figured out. After Daniel Valencia gets out there in the 9th inning, gets 1-2, and then unravels. 2 outs, nobody on. All of a sudden, it's a walk-off win for the Marlins in a game that the offense just kept fighting and then eventually ran out of gas. And a bad team like the Marlins, who've now all of a sudden won 4 out of 5. The Cubs lose the game. They cost us our bet of the day. Damn it, Cubs. Eric, if the Cubs want to be serious contenders for the playoffs this season, they need a closer, plain and simple. Awful loss last night. Hopefully they can bounce back. If you watch the recap, that's what Cap said. Awful, awful, awful loss. 100%. You can't keep giving up games like this. And quite frankly, I really do believe that the Cubs make a trade for a closer. Here's the problem with that is that I don't know who's going to be willing to give up on a closer, even the good teams. By the way, the Cubs are 10 of 18 in save opportunities. Now, that gets like that blown saves can happen in the 7th and 8th inning, but 10 of 18 for a team that blew 26 last year is not good for a team that's trying not only to get to the playoffs, but try to play deep in October and get to the World Series. Eric, yes. Jed Hoyer this morning on the score said that Ian Happ is off the IL. Moises Ballesteros will go back to Iowa. I think that's the obviously logical move. Hopefully he can provide a spark. I'm guessing he'll be at the top of the lineup, and PCA will slot down to give this lineup a little bit more length. Becky, I completely disagree with you here. If Tucker wants to stay a Cub, he needs to start hitting. I mean, Kyle Tucker is one of the best players in the game, whether you like it or not. I mean, it's just a fact. He's a career 24-4 WAR player. His WAR over this is just baseball reference, okay? In this year, he's a 1.6. You go back to the 4 years prior, 4.7, 5.5, 5.5, 5.3. He's been an all-star for 3 straight years. He's won the Gold Glove. He's won a Silver Slugger. I'm sorry. If you think that because Kyle Tucker's in a rut, and that's going to cost him the Cubs being here long-term, someone else is going to reap the rewards. Porter Hodge to the IL, as we learned last night from Craig Counsell. They need to bring somebody up from AAA. At some point, Becky, you just don't have enough down there in the back end. I actually would not be surprised to see eventually Ryan Presley get another shot. You know, I talked to Drew Pomeranz on Friday. I know what I'm saying here. He recorded his first save in 5 years about a week and a half ago. But that's the type of guy you're going to have to look at some point. You need someone to hold the fort down. This closer by committee thing is no fun because you're asking people to pitch out of turn in different scenarios. Pomeranz has 10 career saves. He had 4 with the Padres in 2020, 2 with the Brewers in 2019, and he had 3 with the Oakland A's in 2015. Obviously, 1 with the Cubs this year. But Drew Pomeranz is 1-0, 11 games, 10 1/3 innings, scoreless. He's got 11 strikeouts and 10 1/3. I'm going to be honest with you. I at least for now, again, not sexy. He's not David Bednar from Pittsburgh. By the way, Greg, David Bednar is going to cost you. It's an in-division trade, okay? Which at some point, you can't be worried about prices all that much anymore. I really firmly believe that. Looking at David Bednar, he's a free agent. So he's a free agent in 2027. So Bednar's interesting, Greg. That's an interesting name because the Pirates are up the tracks. They have ownership, as Jess knows, I'm a fan of the program here. They're a mess. But Bednar, here's the problem with Bednar. I'm going to bring up Bednar. Phenomenal in 2022 and 2023. Two-time All-Star. ERA of 2.61, ERA of 2. He had 39 saves, led the National League in 2023. 2024, 3-8 with a 5.77. This year, 0-4 with a 5.40. I mean, you're kind of getting a guy that looks like he's lost it. You don't need a reclamation project right now. You need Kyle Finnegan. Kyle Finnegan was a name that was brought up during the offseason. Kyle Finnegan is a guy who was an all-star last year, 38 saves this year, 0-1 with a 2.70 with 14 saves in 17 games. That's the type of guy you're looking for. 17 strikeouts and 16 in a third. I think that's the type of guy. Helsley maybe could be available if the Cards come back to earth. Again, Greg, I don't mind these names, but Finnegan by far is the best. Of those three, as the guy I trust the most, and two of those are interdivision trades. Hoyer and company don't want to use the money to get a legit closer. I actually, Becky, I actually wholeheartedly disagree with you. I know Becky's worried about the Cards. Tucker's been terrible in the outfield. You guys be careful. You want to bitch and complain about Kyle Tucker, guess what? He will be gone. That's the problem. You have a guy who's a bona fide star. They have been looking for a guy like this for a couple of years. They haven't had him because he's in a little bit of a slump right now. You guys are ready to punt. At the beginning of the year when he was carrying the world, no one said a word. He still has an OPS plus, by the way, you guys. League average is 100. Okay? League average is 100. He has a 148 OPS plus. 148 OPS plus. And you guys are sitting there going, he better be careful. He needs a day off. All this stuff. 148 OPS plus. Just to put that in perspective, Pete Crow Armstrong has a 146. So with the slumping Kyle Tucker, he still has a better OPS plus than Pete Crow Armstrong. I know Becky's fired up. We really need a hot winning streak, but now with this bullpen, you guys, this is that's why they blew a 1-run lead. They had 2 outs. Ian says the 0-2 slider that Palencia missed, you could see the confidence he lost right there. He was looking good up to that point. He comes in, boom, boom. You're thinking, here we go. Cubs kind of stole a win. Ben Brown didn't pitch well. He did have 8 strikeouts and no walks. He's got to be better after giving up a couple of homers in the first. Cubs score, all of a sudden 6-3 Marlins, and you're thinking, oh, God. And the offense comes back. The bullpen's got to be better. Chicago, it's been Jed's MO. Sad thing is Jed will be getting an extension. Only in Chicago can a GM be mediocre and get rewarded. I will agree with the latter part of that, but I'm telling you right now, they did try. Now, no one wants to hear about coming in second, but they did try to land the Dodgers. I'm losing track of his name. The Dodgers closer they signed from the Padres. But they need a dude. They need an absolute dude closer. The question is, who is that? So I'm going to pull up save leaders in baseball. Now, obviously, save leaders in baseball a lot of the time are guys from winning teams, but not all the time. Munoz from Seattle, he's going nowhere. Suarez from San Diego going nowhere. Estevez from Kansas City going nowhere. Finnegan's the name. Finnegan becomes the first name. He's 14 of 16. He has walked 7 hitters, but Finnegan becomes the first name. Then you look, it's Houston, Hader, Pagan, Mason Miller's going nowhere for all of you who think he's available. Edwin Diaz going nowhere. Clase's going nowhere. Helsley, again, in division, Helsley's walked 10. It leads all closers. So, again, got to be careful. Hoffman in Toronto, bloated ERA. Kenley Jansen. Like Kenley Jansen, that's an interesting name. He has an ERA of 5.02. He's pitching for a terrible team in the the LA Angels of Anaheim, but a guy has almost 400 career saves and he's done it. Tanner Scott's the guy I was talking about earlier. Cubs made a very big offer to him. He got $5 more million, I believe, from the Dodgers. Duran from the Twins is really interesting. Problem is the Twins are above 500, guys. There's just not a lot out there. I wish Seiya would still show some fire on those terrible called strikes. I'm sure going to keep doing it until he stands up to them. So you want him to get tossed? I mean, I understand. Go sign Robertson. I mean, it is just money. He is still available. Why? Originally, he wanted $11 million. Maybe he's still sitting there saying, the only way off this couch is if I'm still getting that $11 million. And I'm not quite sure that if I'm paying $11 million to a guy that needs to go down to Arizona, then probably to AAA, when I can get probably the same price a guy who's been in the league. You know what, guys? I actually am adamant. This is insane. Becky says Hoyer doesn't want to win. Cheap-ass Ricketts. Neither does do you guys think that Turner will still be here after the deadline? As long as they're in first place, I do. You guys say no. Cubs aren't going to cough up over $400 million. Turner needs to retire, enjoy family and life. This is unreal. I honestly think this is going to be the longest season in Cubs baseball in a long time. I'm worried about you guys. I really am. Justin Turner's here for now. I can't promise you he's here through the deadline. Why did MLB put the schedule for us to play the Marlins back-to-back? This happens all the time, Becky. This happens all the time. First of all, why are we complaining about playing the Marlins back-to-back? You are the Chicago Cubs. You should be drilling the Miami Marlins. The White Sox took 2 out of 3 against the Marlins. Come on. Terry. Palencia getting grief for his performance last night. Not his fault. Here's a guy that almost never goes back-to-back, who pitched Friday, Saturday, then got hot in the pen Sunday, and he was guessed. Terry, really valid point. Now you're looking at maybe more of the manager and Tommy Hotovy in this point. Becky, yes, a hat tip to Kyle Schwarber, who hit his 300th career homer last night and really remains the one that got away from that 16 Cubs team. That was one of the bogus, boneheaded moves of all time. I saw a stat that in whatever it was, in 7 seasons with the Cubs, Red Sox, and Washington Nationals, Kyle Schwarber had 147 home runs, I believe. And in 3 seasons with the Phillies, he has like 153. That's crazy. Swayze, yeah, bad loss. My guy, Breck, what's going on, buddy? Going to the Rockies game tonight. So good when it hits your lips. I know that man's, the world's largest outdoor bar. I used to call Wrigley Field that, but certainly what's going on in Colorado right now, who I believe are 30 games under 5. Yeah, that's 8-38. The 8-38 Colorado Rockies. For those of you scoring at home, if you want to look at what the White Sox were last year through 46 games, just so we can talk about pace, because that's where we're at now. We're looking at, can the White Sox record that took 62 years to break of the 1962 Mets be broken this year by the Colorado Rockies? 46 games last year. The White Sox were is this correct? Yeah. The White Sox through 46 games a year ago were 14-32. 6 games better. 6 games better. By the way, the current White Sox are 14-34. So put that in perspective. Both the Rockies and this year's White Sox on pace to break the 141 losses. Palencia needs rest. Jess, yep, you could see the cracks before the season started. Now they're getting wider with injuries. Bednar is not the answer. He's lost games for Skeens to the point he went back down to AAA. Yeah, great point, Jess. And I knew you'd know, being the Pittsburgh native that you are and the fan. I don't hate the name, but it's a reclamation project. And right now the Cubs cannot afford another reclamation project on this roster. They cannot. They need outs in the bullpen when it matters most. They're not getting them. Kyle, good afternoon. Bad loss for the Cubs. Need to find that closer. Is one of the greatest American bands. Aerosmith says it's the same old story, same old song and dance. Nice. Becky, Cubs haven't made the playoffs since 2020. That's what I've been saying. The Cubs' arrogance, there is some arrogance. There is some arrogance within the organization, maybe the fan base. I always say they have Yankees arrogance with Cleveland Browns pennants. Or if you even want to be fair, Chicago White Sox pennants. Because the Cubs have won just as many as the White Sox. They haven't won a series in since 2017. So it's been 8 years. Enough. It's time. Any ideas for the Cubs getting a closer? Who's available since Porter Hodge is hurt? I'm gonna stick on this. I'm going on the Drew Pomeranz train. I'm on the Drew Pomeranz train. I'm just, at this point, you got to look at guys who are capable of recording outs. He's a veteran. It's next man up. And we know Palencia is not available today. Very bad loss. Jed better do something now. It's May 20th, guys. Who's available? Very few teams are trading closers on May 15th or May 20th, I should say. I know we want to do something now, and Jess is right. Ricketts and the Cubs are going to have to open up their wallet to get this done, to acquire a trade. Speaking of open up your wallet, when you go to Hooters, you have to do that. Okay? When you go to Hooters, the tender tacos are like $10.99. The shrimp tacos are delish. I've done a little mix and matching with the tender and the shrimp tacos, by the way, which you can do when you go to Hooters. And if you're looking for a Hooters near you, originalhooters.com, because there's 11 of them. Clyde, not going to forget about my friends in Northwest Indiana, of course. You guys know. You got my heart. The Big Daddy mugs help wash it all down. They had Summer Shandy. They got the Blue Moon. They got the Dos Equis. And, of course, the Paloma, the beautiful, the gorgeous, very bright Paloma. $8 all month, the rest of the month. And I'll tell you what, if we can get some damn weather, the Paloma would look and feel a lot better. Can't promise you the weather's good, but the Palomas are tasty. And, of course, if you don't like the Paloma, the $6 cocktails are for you every day and all day. And if you want to pick up the food to go, order.hooters.com is the way to get that done. I understand that you guys are all fired up. I totally get it. But, like, they're going to lose games like this, again, even when they get another closer. Like, teams, we're locked in. We're locked into this team. And I know, like, I'm not trying to, it was a bad loss to a terrible team. And there's really no excuse for it. Does the press want the Bears to fill every hole through free agency? It sounds like it to me. At what point do we go with what we have? I think at this point, Wayne, I think the only possibility of adding at this point would be monitoring the Trey Hendrickson situation in Cincinnati. Like, that kind of feels Khalil Mack-ish. What was that, like 6-7 years ago? Where on Labor Day, the Bears made the big trade, signed him, and bam, plugged and played, and he had that dominant game in Green Bay to open the season. He says he won't play with the Bengals on his current contract. Something's got to give. That's the only thing I see in terms of adding. Becky, I could not agree with you more. I know you're upset. I could not agree with you more. I think I've been saying for a long time that I really believe the Cubs had a frontline starter and a stud back end, maybe not a stud, a name that is pitching in the ninth inning. Okay. A guy who's an actual closer. Saw the Bears extended Joe Thuney for 2 more years. Yes, I was going to lead with that originally, but it's the Cubs. Good job to Poles for getting this done. Now sign the rest of your rookie class before training camp bear down. I think they'll sign the rest of the rookie class. That usually happens no matter what. Very few guys are holding out these days. The old rookie way of holding out. We don't see that really much in today's NFL. So 4/5 of the Bears line is locked up for, let's call it long-term, short to long-term. Like the move of getting Thuney for 2 years. I think that makes too much sense. Swayze on the recap yesterday. Cap asks, do we consider the Cubs a World Series contender? I said no, not until they get a top of the rotation and closer position squared away. Lo and behold, yeah, that went out yesterday during the recap rush hour. And what happens? They implode right in front of us. And yeah, the answer to that question is right now. And Cap, to be fair, said he didn't agree that they were World Series contenders at the moment. This was before the loss. And yes, here comes Godfather. I was waiting for that top rope elbow. Second verse, same as the first. Asked who was closing. Still don't have an answer. Serious about winning. I don't think so. Ask, or thanks, Tom. I will say this, Godfather, who's playing third base? Matt Shaw, in his return to the lineup, looked very comfortable, looked very good, and hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. Wayne, dear Cub fans, it could be way worse. You could be a Sox fan like me. You're in first place. Hello. And Wayne, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, are you kidding me? I wish I was complaining about stuff like this. I'm complaining about Davis Martin pitching 14 innings over his last 2 starts with nothing to show for it. He gets the loss last night because you have to be perfect. It's very Paul Skeens-like. I'm not comparing Davis Martin to Paul Skeens by any matter, but when you have to go out there and be perfect every single time, it's really, really tough. What did Pat Boyle tell you about the Hawks coaching shirts? I still believe Jeff Blashill will ultimately be the guy, but you never know. Kyle, it looks like it's trending that way. I talked to PB. He felt like it was trending that way, and he did still agree. He will come on when the Blackhawks name the coach. He will be right here. He knows he's got questions to answer from you guys. But yeah, he's talking. He thinks it could happen as soon as the end of this week, maybe even into next week. But we'll see as the Hawks have to get a coach here sooner or later. Pablo, Caleb did so. Future rookie QBs. Did future QBs a good service by speaking up about his first year. Now more NFL coaches know how to approach rookie quarterbacks about getting drafted, film, etc. More rookies will benefit. Pablo, that's a really good point. How about, like, instead of criticizing a guy for year one about, like, hey, I'm concerned about going here, maybe it opens the eyes to organizations who have failed at developing something over the course of 50 years. That's a really good point. That if he's watching film by himself because you have an ineptitude in coaching, you're lucky to have a guy. You're lucky to have him right now still here. It's a really good point, Pablo. Becky, I'm concerned. Becky, you're going to be in Indiana. You're going to be closer to us. I'm hoping that we can calm your heartbeat. Maybe the Cubs get one today going away. Today maybe should be the day. The bet of the day should be the Cubs run line. You bounce back, but I'm not going there again. I can't bet on this team right now. Especially when the Marlins are 4-1 over their last 5. I like the Tooney extension as well. If we had gotten Kirby Yates, he would have been our closer. Yeah, that's fair. That's 100% he would have been your closer. But you didn't get Kirby Yates. You can't talk about what you didn't get. Kirby Yates also a Dodger. Kirby Yates, you want to know what Kirby Yates is doing? He's got a 4.34 ERA. He has a ton of strikeouts, but he's walking guys. He's getting hit. 22 games, 18 2/3, 18 hits. 3 homers. That's what I'm saying. We got tunnel vision. You only see what you see. You don't see everybody else's problems. Finnegan's a good idea. Also, inquiring with the Rangers is a good idea, but you will pay for it. Hey, at this point, Jess, everyone knows you're paying. I said to keep an eye on Texas really for a while, including Jacob deGrom. But Texas they're going to be in it. They're not going to blow it up when you have Bruce Bochy as the manager. Finnegan's a really good. I keep an eye on the Braves, too, about Chris Sale. The Braves are 500, or game over 500. But that NL East is going to be really, really, really tough. And then, there's just not a lot available. You have 4 teams over 500 in the NL West. You have 3 teams 500 or better in the Central. You have 3 teams 500 or better in the NL East. You have 3 teams above 500 in the AL West. You have 4 teams above 500 in the AL Central, and you have 1 team in the AL East above 500. How about that? The AL East, not what it once was. Baltimore, I think Baltimore's worth looking at. That team's going to absolutely blow up. They're already 15 games under 500, and I looked at this not that long ago. I think it's Bautista is who you'd want to look at from, where's he at? Felix Bautista. Also going to cost you. He's 29 years old. He's got some years of control. That might be a guy that the Cubs look at because the Orioles, they're going to be making some trades. The Tooney extension was as expected. Now, hopefully this gives the Bears a new life on offense. No doubt. As it happens, Becky, Miguel Vargas for the White Sox was in a slump. Fixed something with his hands. It was the AL Player of the Week. Guys figure it out, especially vets. Yeah, Lip, it's insane to me. It's absolutely asinine that we're talking about Kyle Tucker. Better figure it out or he won't be a Cub. You know what? With all due respect to the people I love in this chat, and it's all of you, you guys better figure it out or you're not going to make it through the season. That's a fact. It's 162 of these. It's what's beautiful about baseball is that you can throw yesterday's game out and get a new chance to win a game. You could also pile on when you're losing. Day after day after day, like White Sox fans are. Kyle Tucker in a slump is still a great player, Jess knows. Season hits the ball, puts fear in pitchers. Remember the Marlins opted to walk him last night instead of pitching. Godfather, $30 million under the luxury tax. It was more in the winter, but Hoyer had to toe the line and get the cheap guys. Thanks, Tom. Kurt, if only the Cubs could have had a closer last offseason for only money instead of prospects. Maybe we're not looking for one now. Jed, are you listening? The Cubs did offer closers money. These guys opted to go to other places. Now, you could say, well, we should have offered more. At the time, their offer was the best, and then the Dodgers came calling. I don't know what you want me to tell you, people. I know you think, look, I know all of you think that, we've had multiple people in here today say the Cubs don't care about winning. You're calling guys out, which I get because there's glaring holes, and it's the same holes of the last 3 years. The Cubs will make a move. I'm just sitting there telling you on May 20th, I just went through every division and told you how many teams are 500 or better. And there is like 7 teams that might be even thinking about the idea of trading right now. 3 of probably which are true. None of who you want to trade. Who are you trading with? Who are the White Sox giving you in their bullpen? They don't have one. They don't even have a 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guy. The Rockies, forget about it. So it's going to cost you. I think you got to be fine with it. This team's going to make a move for a closer. They really are. Tanner Scott's the guy I was talking about earlier. Godfather choke slamming the Ricketts as gold, was waiting on that one. Phil, this is what happens when you don't get Kirby Yates or Tanner Scott. Dustin, by the way, Kirby Yates not doing all that great, but maybe it's because he's a setup guy. Dustin, I know everyone is going to hate on me for this, but when you compare Ben Brown's first 17 starts to Justin Steele's first 17, Brown has better numbers. He also entered the game with a 364 over his last 7. Numbers look bad, but the eye test isn't bad. Dustin, really good point. You get people shouldn't hate on you, Dustin. You know what you did? You went under the microscope, my friend, and actually looked into what's going on here. Ben Brown's got unbelievable stuff. I would argue he's got better stuff than Justin Steele. Struck out 8, walked none. He's got to be better. His he'd retired 12 in a row at one point after giving up the 2 homers in the first inning. You got to look at Ben Brown a little bit differently. This is year 1, really, the way I look at it for Ben Brown. Okay, he's not going anywhere right now. I don't have a problem with Ben Brown. Can't let up on cheap Ricketts, but I need help. Thomas, Tucker's playing his way out of Chicago and into LA. You guys are effing nuts. I'm sorry. That's the only thing I can say now. I can't believe how many of you think that Kyle Tucker's playing his way out of Chicago. You better be careful as fans, because when you watch or when you start, oh, he's in a slump, he needs to sit, he's not that good, blah, blah, blah. He's in a slump and has a better OPS plus than the guy you want to sign to a 10-year extension right now in PCA, which I get. I love PCA, but he's got a better OPS plus in PCA. Cubs better be careful of risking their future on this season. Unless you can sign Tucker, if you trade for a few pieces and it doesn't work, you'll be in bad shape for the future. Hey, Jay, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So you're going to sit on your hands with this team, knowing you're a bullpen arm short and a starter short that could get you into the postseason because you're afraid of trading prospects in the future? So what? So you could rely on who the hell knows what the prospects you have are going to be when they get here? We have no idea. You hope. That's why I say it's great. The Cubs are in a great situation. They got the farm system that people want to talk about. Yeah, Jess, that's why I brought up Felix Bautista. The Orioles are horrifically bad. They have quit. They fired their manager looking for that spark, and they have gone even further down that purgatory hellhole that they're in. They're 15-30. They have no pitching. None, except for Felix Bautista. He might be the guy you can pry away sooner than later of any team that could trade. Couple more here. The chat's full. I'm not going to get to all of them. Jed Hoyer has failed to put together a solid bullpen 2 years in a row. Sad. Can argue 3, Dave. The guys are going to talk about this cap, and Gordon are going to do a Cubs podcast as soon as we wrap things up. Plenty to discuss. My goodness. What a chat. This thing is full. We got to get to the bet of the day. Definitely not the great Cubs teams right now. Get it together, Jed, Carter, and Tommy Pennies. Tucker should have caught that ball. Allen, there haven't been too many long-term closers except Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, Eckersley, and Suter. Probably Clase. Now, there's very few of those guys out there, but you got to have somebody who can lock this thing down. Cubs face Weathers tonight, who throws 98. Turner will be in the lineup. He's batting 138 versus four-seamer, slugging 138 versus the heater. This can't go on. He's a great clubhouse guy, but come on. Man, oh man. I see the chat here, guys. Guff, why would Vargas come up with the favorite restaurant line when asked about his beef with Keller? If you're pissed and you think he hit you on purpose, own it. Hey, Terry, I thought it was funny. I have no problem. He's not the first guy to say, oh, I love that stuff. I love when a guy's like, you know what? I'm not going to tell. Why make it public? I'm totally fine. Yeah, Batista, great idea. Thanks. McQuinn, let's go to the bet of the day. Not wearing the aviators today because the Cubs pissed a lot of you off, and then they pissed away the game that I picked as my bet of the day. I thought when they were down 6-3 and came back to take a 7-6 lead that we might steal one.
Should have been 8-6. He was safe. He gets his freaking foot down.
There's that too. The Ballesteros is now in AAA. All right, so I'm doing a double. I'm counting these as 2 separate bets. Very rarely do I give out bets of the day, but I'm doing it. It's the Western Conference Finals. OKC, lots of love for them, rightfully so. I saw that they're minus 370 favorites to win the series, and a sharp saying they should be more like minus 500. Here's where I'm at. Is the long layoff helpful for the Minnesota Timberwolves or not? And is the short turnaround helpful for the OKC Thunder or not? We'll have to see. Probably much will be made about both, and I'm not sure you can really read into that. But Julius Randle in the playoffs, look, Ant-Man should get all the credit. That team is run by the Ant. That dude is awesome. He's literally one of my favorite players. I love that he's like kind of us versus the world. But Julius Randle, that trade with Karl Anthony Towns, you want to talk about a trade that has worked out for both teams. Both teams are in the Western Conference Finals. How about that? Cat goes to the New York Knicks. There's this big haul coming back. Julius Randle has been absolutely spectacular for the Minnesota Timberwolves in the playoffs. He has gone over 20.5 points in every game but two. Every game in the last series but one. Every game in the first series against the Lakers but one. 6 of his 8 games? 9 games. 7 of the 9, over 20.5 points. All right? Or I'm sorry, 8 of 10. 8 of 10 over 20.5 points. I'm going to ride with this. He's also been an assist man. So I'm going to, instead of playing the assists separately, I'm going to do this. We're playing the points 20.5, and we're playing points and assists at minus 115 at 25.5, which he's also gone over 8 of the 10 games in the playoffs. I like the value on over 20.5 at even money. To me makes that's why I put this in there. Like, to me, I have to play them both. I'd hate him to score 23 points and get 4 assists and feel like we lost out on even money. So we're counting these as 2 bets tonight. Either we go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2. We're going to ride it, baby. We're going to do a 2-bet day and see if Julius Randle can't cash us, because he's been a cash machine. What's Cap's pick of the day? Young Sue's so worried about Cap all the time. Cap, you got a bet of the day? I'm throwing you on the spot. Cap usually rides what I go with, and then we come up with same game parlays. He's going to lay the run line with the Philadelphia Phillies. Pablo, I'm old enough to remember the Cubs fans in the 90s. This chat's reminding me of that time. The difference is most Cub fans have seen a World Series. Win. You're a good team. Becky, will the fans stand up tonight? Asked Breck Bear. That's a great point. I just heard on the McAfee show that they compared it to a college crowd. Come on, man. I don't even think. And Lip, great pick. I'm going to ladder it as well. All right, Lip, let's go. Let's cash the Julius Randle over 20.5 and over 25.5 points and assists. Get the Marlins at plus 120 out of spite, and Panthers Canes over 5.5. That's where you live. I love that you live in those hockey overs. And finally, Swayze, I think Cub fans don't want this offense to go to waste. Yeah, I get that. And whether we'll be sitting here at some point talking about the big trade the Cubs made, maybe big trades that the Cubs have made. Okay, so there we go. All right, guys, we got a Cubs recap podcast to take care of. Great show, full of energy. A lot of people, I'm worried about you guys. A lot of people, I'm really worried. The beautiful thing about baseball is that you get to wake up, get yourself a cup of coffee, and try to find yourself a way to win a damn baseball game. The Cubs have to win tonight. They have to win tonight. So get it done so we're not sitting here talking about a blown lead in the 9th inning. Enjoy your day despite the weather. It sucks in Chicago. If you're in Chicago, Lip Ripper, I'm sure you're in Florida where it's 85 and awesome outside, my brother. So let's cash on our bets of the day, get back on the winning way. We'll be back again here tomorrow on the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey, brought to you by the fine folks at Hooters. Go to originalhooters.com to visit one of the 11 Chicago area locations nearest you. Have a great day, and we'll see you